Welcome to Drag the Waters podcast, a cultural commentary podcast. We were going to talk about the American dream with this little script I wrote up, but you know what? Fuck that. You know
Goddamn
what?
right.
Fucking don't even like thinking about the American dream anyway, dude. It's bullshit. You know, we're going to try to say, no, the American dream's on. There's opportunity. Yeah, there's opportunity. But the American dream, fuck the American dream, dude. Like, the American dream is so fucking lame. Like, I mean, America's cool. The government's not, but like.
God bless America.
Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm one of your co-hosts, Aaron James, anarchist, occultist, sitting here with my boy.
This is Mario, Texan, American.
Yeah, he hasn't got his branding worked out yet, but he's working on it. We're both working on it.
Yeah, dude, this is gonna be a ride. So, episode 1, Drag the Waters podcast. Welcome.
Yeah, you can find us on YouTube and BitChute right now. You know, till the big tech overlords decide to destroy us, but you know we're nobody, so we probably will not get taken down unless you know that AI is really sharp, which it might be, you know. And then if we get taken down, I don't like taking this badge of honor, you know.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. The resistance. Oh, we hate Donald Trump. He who must not be named. You resist nothing. You're part of the machine. You know what? And I try not to hate you. Like, I really don't. But you make it really hard. All right? I know we're like on two opposite sides looking at the same thing. Like that meme where the dude's looking at the 6 on one side and the other guy's looking at it and it's a 9. God. It's like, this is how the world works. This is perception. I mean, and it is true. It's like, that's pretty much how it is. But like, do you ever take the time to just think, like, just a little bit? Like, there was nothing about the election that seemed fishy, like nothing at all. Like, there's no similarities between the storming of the Capitol and then the George Floyd riots. Nothing similar at all.
All right.
That poor cop. Oh my God. You like cops now? What the fuck?
All of a sudden, a cop.
What the fuck? The one cop to rule the left. And she's dead.
Oh, man. No, it was a guy. The girl that was shot was an American veteran. Yeah.
Well, if only I could care, you know?
Right.
You know, I don't go protest. Why protest? It ain't going to do nothing. You're just going to make them mad.
Very few lives matter. You know, if you look at nature, babies, like baby elk are born and then eaten by tigers within seconds. Sometimes I was looking at Nature is Metal. Shout out Nature is Metal. Instagram. There was like a monkey baby clinging on to its dead monkey mom while a lion was like carrying it away. So it was like it didn't even have the strength or know how to like try and escape. It was just like clinging on for dear life. And
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Nature's so metal.
Oh, it certainly is. You know this if you ever have a really old dog. It just won't die. You know why the dog's not dying? Because there's no predators out there in the wild to take it off when it's gotten too old.
Right. And like a meteor could come down right now and humanity, you know, we could have the Yellowstone National Park just go off. North America's off the map, blocks the sun for 10 years. All the crops die. All the megafauna die. And then if you're not like living in a bunker with hydroponics and nuclear facility, like, where are you going?
Yeah. Something will survive cockroaches or anything like that, you know. And then, you know, evolution, the wheel of evolution will turn again.
Yeah, what is 600 million years, right?
I don't fucking know. It's a lot of zeros, bro. I want to see that in my bank account, not in the textbook.
Oh, that'd be so nice. Oh, all right. Well, I'm happy to be here. Yeah,
I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked. I mean,
grateful. I'm grateful that Kalea crashed into the Earth and created the moon and gave us the tides.
Wow, that's deep, bro.
Yeah, dude. Oh, and also tilted the Earth to give us seasons, right?
I mean, maybe in different latitudes. We got 2 seasons here, you know. We got really, really hot and then like wet coming at you from NORAD 2HQ deep in the heart of Texas.
Yes.
But not that gay liberal shit, you know. Well, somewhere around there, but not
close.
Really. Yeah, you know.
Red dots and a blue dot in a red state, right?
But our liberals are still better because, you know, they like guns.
Yeah.
Somewhat. The bad ones, no, we don't talk to those. You know, except for, you know, all this goddamn coronavirus lockdown shit. Fucking tired of it.
No, man. I mean, that was over, and I'm glad that we figured it out because you couldn't shut the country down, and then or create like a giant homeless problem. That's why everyone's moving here. God bless Texas, and you can still achieve your goals without having so much red tape, so many people trying to stop you. It's not like laissez-faire capitalism, but it's definitely going on here in Texas. Land's cheap, and opportunity
Not
is
for long, man.
abundant.
Freaking demand is on the rise, so property's shooting up, man. Be a lot of money. If we had property right now, bro, we'd be making money.
Yeah, you're right. More property.
In fact, you could probably take a loan out on another house in this neighborhood and just hold it for 6 months.
Boom.
And then
put solar on that shit, dude.
And sell it and probably make, 10, 20 grand. Not that the 10, 20 grand is going to mean anything with all this inflation, too.
Oh, man.
What was it? 1/3, 2/3 of money all printed in the past 6 months?
Yeah. It's going to be bad. It's going to be a tax. Think of it like a tax, because it is a tax. Unless you are extremely affluent, the lower and middle class is going to be crushed. Our buying power is going to be weakened. Your savings, people that are saving, people that are in retirement, all of those savings are now worth less than they would be before the COVID-19 economic meltdown. Standard of living in the U.S. is going to go down as prices get more and more expensive. So like buying a fucking can of beans isn't going to be 88 cents no more. Your $1.70 gas a gallon is going to be like $4. It's going to be
Yeah, it'll be interesting seeing how this all falls out. Not that I have a lot of money anyway, so not have less. Oh, great. At least I got this podcast.
Thank you.
Till they take that away too.
Oh God.
Take my money. Take my podcast. Don't take my books. Please don't take my books.
Yeah, that's
why I got paper.
Buy books, dude. Shit.
Apparently, I heard that anything that you buy digitally, you don't even really have ownership of it. It can be revoked. It's like a rental.
Like Steam. Yeah.
That's so bad.
Yeah, it's terrible. I miss the days where you could just buy like a cartridge, put it in my game, fucking blow on it, even though the back says like don't blow on your cartridges. It's like, but the game's got to play. You know what I'm saying?
You always blow cartridges, man. Always. Little love, little TLC.
No DLC, TLC, but no DLC. Like games came.
There's a right way to do
100%,
DLC.
100%, dude.
Yeah, definitely. Good old times. I actually just bought a disc today, Divinity Original Sin 2. I heard it's a really badass RPG, turn-based, so I'm looking to sinking some hours into that.
Hell yeah.
Getting tired of Horizon Zero Dawn, even though I started over.
Heard that.
Way better now, just running it.
Luxuries, dude, luxuries. And that's what's so amazing growing up in the first world, growing up in the most powerful nation on the planet, biggest military, biggest Navy, biggest Air Force. Yeah. I feel safe. I'm also like being monitored right now, but I'm safe, right?
Yeah. You're safe, Mario. We're always watching.
Fuck. Yeah, I really stopped worrying about it after I got really angry back, I guess it was 2011, New Year's Eve 2011, right before 2012, and then the NCAA was signed with the provision to include American citizens in its like Patriot Act extension. I forget what section it is, but it's terrible. And from that point on, I was like, well, I can't really worry about the government anymore.
Yeah, that's what they want. They want you to live in fear.
No, they just own us now. Like, I guess they owned us.
The feds
forever.
have owned us for a while. I think since we went off the gold standard. Yeah, the all of the money printed now, like they say, it's backed by the word of the government. Really, it's backed by the whole posterity of the United States holdings, its citizens' holdings,
right,
and its future holdings. So basically, we're leveraging our future.
Right.
Which I think is what debt is.
And which is why our dollar is going to be worth less now. It's because we're in so much debt. People are like, well, y'all are never going to pay this back, so fuck the petrodollar, right?
Well, I mean, I almost think it's preferable that they keep printing money. Otherwise, the collapse will happen. So it's just like, if we're playing this game, let's keep going. Like
Yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki style, we're going to get more debt to maintain our income.
Right, like 50s was millionaires. The 2010 was billionaires. Like,
2020s is Jeff Bezos.
no, dude, Elon Musk. Elon Musk is now the richest man in the world. $280 billion.
How did he get?
Yeah, I know, right? Tesla, bro. Tesla's the future.
Right.
Gigafactory, A-Town. Yeah.
Whatever that means. No, that's some cool stuff here, but that Neuralink thing freaks me out though, man. Like direct to the brain.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't want no microchip. I don't want no. I mean, I got my smartphone. All right.
Well, if it's like the Kala, it'll be cool, but it'll like people aren't ready for it.
No, dude. Like, for that to work as the Kala, we'd have to jack in first the highest consciousness people on the planet. So we'd have to like plug in the Dalai Lama first.
Right.
Otherwise, all we're gonna do is socialize the misery of humanity.
And what are we at now?
I don't know how we are right now, and this is all according to this book called Power versus Force, which is a pretty cool book about consciousness and power, and it puts consciousness on a logarithmic scale, and separates into two sections. The low half is like all the negative emotions, anger, hate, shame, which is destructive. And then there's an inflection point called the critical point where we move into power. And for the longest time, we've been at the level of pride, which is just underneath the critical point, associated with like nationalism, the British Empire, probably American imperialism, any kind of imperialism really, that depends on a tribal or national identity. But in the harmonic convergence sometime in the 80s, when a bunch of people got together and meditated at the same time, supposedly we broke to like 204, and the critical point is 200. So we're actually in a positive upbuilding.
Does not feel like this.
Consciousness. Well, dude, when you start doing deep personal work to like raise your consciousness, even though this is like not necessarily accurate terminology, like you have to deal with old garbage emotions. So like you get to a good place, and all of a sudden that trauma or whatever you had buried, it's like your brain's like, oh, it's safe now. We can process this finally. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh, why? Why am I?
Right.
I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. And there are ways
you are
to...
safe, Aaron. The government's watching you.
I know. Thanks, big bro. I appreciate you. Quit taking all my money. Stay away from my guns.
Oh, please stay away.
My half a gun. Not that I could get ammunition for it anyway.
All right, wait, hold on. Back to doing the personal work. Is that the problem, dude? Is that the problem? People don't want to talk to themselves, dude. People don't. I mean, I talk to myself all the time, but I don't know if I'm like talking to myself in that way. You know what I'm saying?
Well, dude, like once again, we're privileged. You know, let's just say we're grateful.
Yeah, very grateful. Rolled high. You know, male, America, 90s.
Yeah, and so gratitude will definitely help you out, but the big thing is well, one, a lot of people are like at very low levels on this scale, like around apathy probably, so they feel like they have no control over their lives, you know. Not to mention all the media and government interference, which likes to use emotions of anger and fear to keep people down and easily hurted. But so if you see a lot of angry people, what they're really doing is that anger feels, because anger is like, it's a logarithmic scale, so it's exponential. So anger is hundreds of thousands of times more powerful than like apathy or guilt. So if someone's natural state is guilt and they get angry, they actually feel better. So if they feel afraid, that fear feels better than the guilt and shame they might be going through. And so, or maybe their consciousness is actually raising to where their natural set point is anger. So they're just an angry person now, but that's better than
Guilt and shame.
being a fearful person, or even a person who's like at this level of desire, so of greed or lust or whatever. Like, you get up to anger, it's a very active level of consciousness. And above that is pride. Because, like, so if you're angry at something, you hate something. But if you get to pride, you're like, that thing is beneath me. I'm above being angry at that thing because I'm better than it.
Heard that.
So, but then there's this level called courage, which is the inflection point. Courage at what? It's just you're just looking forward to basically just doing whatever the work is. And then you get into thing, and then above that's neutrality. So even just having a neutral, observational outlook is more powerful than anger, pride, sorrow, all this stuff, which is why meditation it might be the best exercise you can do to improve your consciousness, because just being able to look objectively at what is actually powerful.
So neutral objectivism is what we should strive for, or rational.
Well, there's neutrality, then there's willingness, acceptance, and then it gets to rationality.
Okay. So like Marcus Aurelius, what's the percentage of people at rationality? Because the majority of the population's in apathy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then we have the institutions like encouraging, if not apathy, and guilt and shame, it'd be fear. Right?
Yeah, definitely fear and anger are the biggest thing. Greed or desire is also a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not afraid, you're wanting something, like a person in poverty, like you want the new car, the big TV, all that stuff. Not that you're angry at the government, you're angry at the left or the right, where you are, or you might just be proud and you're
false
above
dichotomy.
it. Yeah. I mean, all dichotomies are false if you go super spiritual with it. Yeah, the boundary between false dichotomies is where the action really is, and where like manifestation and where we really live. So if there was no boundary, like if you look at
Space.
life out in nature, life thrives most at the boundaries. So where a pond meets a grassland and a forest, at that intersection you're going to find the most life, because that's where life can intermingle with each other.
This is true.
So it's not really where things separate, it's where things meet, if you want to get all Ken Wilber about it. But yeah, most people, they're just, I mean, I see it a lot more in the left, because that's who I criticize most today, because just I'm very much an individual, a radical individualist. But you see it in the right too, with like the whole, I mean, there's the whole ethno-nationalists at the worst part of the right, even though, I mean, this is totally taboo to say. I don't even think, like, they're not really that bad. They believe some heinous stuff, but it's like, 90s Christians were like, we don't hate homosexuals, we just hate homosexuality.
Right.
It's like, why can't you apply that kind of logic to these people? Like, and I'm like, and you don't have to.
Well, it's
I'm
also
not,
fear and ignorance.
Oh, that's where it all comes from. Because like, the only reason, like, they're afraid of the Jews, because if you look at like the IQ statistics, they're really smart. They're overrepresented supposedly in the high-paying jobs in media and law and banking, and like, that's scary. Like, if we, like, I know this is gonna be a nasty analogy, but like, if there was an alien race that came to Earth and they were smarter than us, had all the money, and were concentrated in power sources, we'd probably be afraid of them too.
Yeah, people would be afraid for sure.
So, but
and collectivism is like dumb.
I mean, there's probably good like ideas to it, but like practically, I don't see it like collectivizing large populations is bad. Like if you want like a small commune, like cool. Like if you want to start a business commune, I think those would be awesome. Like get a bunch of people to live together. I mean, be like the military essentially. You have a barracks,
right? But
or a dormitory.
that like becomes a hierarchy, and it has like a structure to it.
Oh yeah, you can't avoid hierarchies.
Right.
It's just because.
Well, I agree.
I mean,
Nature is hierarchical.
Yeah, nature's hierarchical. You don't have to be all into lobster theory or whatever. Like,
I mean, just look at a wolf pack, a pride of lions, pecking order.
a tribe of humans,
Right.
someone's going to lead. You need a leader in your business. There's a leader. Like, I know you're out there calling other people stupid, so some people are better than others.
Yeah.
So, or better in different ways. But, I mean, we might be able to collectivize, but as far as like human consciousness, like we're not nowhere near the level to be able to do that.
Right.
And instead of collectivizing, I'd say we need to start building better social systems and structures that make raising, what's the word? Like human lifestyle cheaper and easier to do,
Now, when you say human lifestyle, you mean like positive productivity in humans rather than like, I'm going to binge watch this show about rich people being outrageous for 16 episodes or whatever.
I mean, I think there's room for both, and that some people are going to be at that level where they want to just binge. Like, if someone just wants to work 40 hours a week so they can go home and binge watch Netflix with their family, eat fast food, that's a win for a lot of people.
Yeah, you're right. Because that could be, as long as someone's happy, that could be success.
So that's definitely a step up. Now, for me personally, as far as like economics and jobs go, I grew up. My parents were divorced, and my dad, he worked at an IT company for a while, but then he got sick with cancer and he left and tried to do a bunch of businesses with his friend that fell through. And I don't even know how he supported us really, or paid child support, but he somehow managed. I think it was probably Social Security. But my mom has been a lifelong IRS employee, so I am a son of one of these evil demons that work for the government. So, but just watching her work and suffer, now she's doing really good. She just started making over 6 figures.
Nice.
She's about retirement age. So she's worked her way up and's been proactive about applying up and moving up.
The kids are out of the house.
Yeah. Let's try to keep it that way. But me watching that, it just didn't. If I was in poverty, like that seems like a good move. But since I grew up with that as a norm, like I have to remind myself that something like that is not necessarily bad, but it's just not what I want.
Right.
I want something better. And I think that's a normal impulse for like human growth and even spiritual ascension. It's like Maslow's hierarchy needs. Once you got your food and shelter and stuff taken care of, this is where the hedonic adaptation comes in. It's like, okay, I'm not hungry anymore. I'm not sheltered anymore. That's when you start thinking your job kind of sucks. You're like, because you want something better. And that's not necessarily a bad impulse, but the thing is people start chasing like what they're supposed to chase based off like media representations, what they've been hypnotized to believe that they want, all the consumer advertising, and I'm not against any of that stuff because I like seeing cool stuff. I'm part of a few marketplaces. That's fine. But like, I'm also, this might be arrogant to say, I think I'm a little more aware about what information's coming into my brain.
I wouldn't say that's arrogant at all, because there's a large cast of people out there that don't have their eyes open, and even if they say or think they want to achieve something more, they're unwilling or they get trapped. I remember working with a lot of people who are like, I can't lose this job. They're like living paycheck to paycheck. They fucking hate their job. Every day they go into work, it's just getting worse and worse, and they're just succumbing to a bunch of not even contentment, just like everyday suffering with no hope for a future. And it's all just a lie, because at any point they could, start applying for other jobs. They can start surrounding themselves with people that want them to succeed. They could start working on themselves and doing that inner work and like being like, how do I achieve these goals? Like instead of being like, I can't afford that, it's like, how can I afford that? What am I going to do in order to do that?
Right. Yeah, but to move up, you got to let go of a lot of the old programming. And that means letting go of a lot of people.
Sacrifice.
You know, making new friends. Definitely sacrifice. If you want to be, if you want a different outcome, you're gonna have to become not necessarily completely different, but a different person to achieve that outcome. Because whatever you're doing today obviously isn't working unless you've been involved in some kind of personal development. But yeah, a lot of people, it sounds like the whole apathetic mindset to me. Like, I know a lot of like working in the food industry, you know,
So
we
much
both
fun.
have.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be a lot of fun, especially when you're with a good team that's functioning and productive.
Family.
But a lot of people, like, you're not making a lot of money. And a lot of people go in there, like, suffering unnecessarily. Like, I need this job. It's like, you can go get a job at any other food place if you don't like it here, you know, and you got some experience. You can start applying to other places, maybe get $1 or $2 raise, or that's a whole other people like, I mean, I guess at a certain level of poverty or whatever, like a quarter or 50 cents of dollars might be a big deal, like more groceries. But that's
Gym membership.
Gym membership. You don't even need a gym to like get in shape, you know, but that's really small change. You know, I like to think about, you know, doubling hourly rates, stuff like that.
Yeah, like would you rather have health insurance or would you rather have like Amazon Prime and Netflix and Hulu?
I mean, health insurance is okay, but I'd rather just be healthy,
Yeah.
you know, and not be taxed by the government for being healthy and, you know, subsidizing some fat fuck who's going to die of a heart attack and I got to pay for all their cancer bills and stuff.
Well, I mean, I'm okay with universal basic income, or not basic income. What the fuck am I saying? Universal health care, if you can opt in and out of it. Like, if people want to get on the government healthcare plan, like, by all means, do that shit. But as long as I'm not fucking paying, you know, like...
Yeah, no, I think...
voluntary systems.
Everything should be voluntary.
Right.
Taxes should be voluntary. You know, or programs should be... Like, the government should have a list of programs, and you'd be like, all right, I'm going to put in... It's crowdfunding. I mean,
right.
we have the technology.
Yeah, we're here now. I mean, we were talking earlier off mic about how the education system in America is garbage.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's outdated. You know, it doesn't produce. It's just not good. Like a lot of this stuff could probably be learned with games on the internet. You know, and kids probably don't have to be at school for 8 hours a day.
Right.
Or if they were, you know, it should be more playtime. And
well, especially at a young age, you know, being
definitely.
physical, socializing, like understanding that, like, you know, if you're 5'9", you're not going to be a basketball player. You know, like.
And they could go doing like community projects. They could go be raking leaves or something, like doing cool stuff. But you know, there's the whole liability issue, the law system. That's like, yeah, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of tape, and there's a lot of like people. You know, when you look at government programs, a lot of those people have those jobs they want to. Well, they're in it for themselves, you know. Like if you're at the Department of Education or the Department of Labor, like you need to find studies and enact policies that are going to benefit your department so that you can remain having a job, you know. And that's not necessarily beneficial to the public at large.
Or they can just, you know, spend the money so they can keep getting their budget renewed.
Exactly.
No, abolish Department of Education. Let markets determine what education people want. People want their kids to succeed. You know, they'll scrape some change together to get a school for them. And someone's going to make it, like a church will probably make a school. They'll have a school available for kids, you know, like they'll be enterprising people. And then, you know, take away that property tax for the schools. And then that liberates a little more funding.
Right. And you'll have privatized schools.
And then people without kids don't have to pay it. And then the people who want the schools to be better can pay more money to do a good school.
Yeah.
You can even make scholarships. Like, there are creative solutions out there, but people want to ignore them, and they're attached to this whole, I want daddy to do it all.
Right.
You know, daddy government.
And the government does everything the worst. Like, I mean, have you ever, like, just getting your driver's license? All right. Like, have you ever gone to a private business to get your driver's license? You're in and out in like 30 minutes. The people there are happy to see you. Like, it's a pleasant experience.
There's private businesses that can renew your driver's license.
Not in the state of Texas.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Need that competition. Dude, do we need to open up a private DMV?
Boom. I don't know what the laws are, but yeah.
Texas law might say no.
No.
Yeah. Way to support the free market,
But
Greg
the
Abbott.
DMV is such a terrible experience. You go in there, everyone's angry to be there. You wait in line for hours. You know, you miss one document, you can't just email it to them or come
Is that
back
the pink
at a later
form?
date.
I need you to go get the blue form
Yeah,
and go to the
dude.
back of the line.
Oh. And it's terrible, you know. And then you have people, like, going back to the healthcare situation, you know, you have people, and really sad in the VA, like, waiting months and months for treatment or just to be seen, you know, and it's still a cost, you know. When you look at European nations, you know, you could be, because you have a bunch of people going to the doctor's office for little things like the flu or like a cold or allergies or whatever. That's like taking up more and more time for the doctors. So you end up, instead of paying with your dollar, which you're still paying with your taxpayer money, but the price changes from a cash value amount to a time amount. And that's why you'll be on a waiting list for 6 months or whatever, you know, versus like, I have my private health insurance and my line is short and I'm getting this surgery tomorrow and going to, you know.
And paying to have your surgery done tomorrow.
Exactly.
Or having your private insurance pay for it.
Yeah, and smaller, it's more beneficial to go. That's why if you're in the U.S., you'll see like a bunch of like little, 24-hour med service places. So you don't have to go to the fucking doctor for a cold, so you can get a slip to be like, I get the 3 days off from work or whatever, you know, like.
Yeah, I went to one because I got stung in the face by a yellow jacket and had a quite a severe reaction that freaked me out.
We're glad you're with us, AJ.
Oh yeah, me too, man. And I've also heard a lot of stories about people like where they have socialized healthcare. They get, you know, a brain tumor or something, and what do? Do they sit around and wait to die? No, they come to America.
Yeah.
And pay to get that shit removed with impunity.
Right. And I mean, it makes sense that healthcare would cost so much because you're talking about surgeons that went to school for like 10 years to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, that's not going to be cheap. Yeah. And then it's also like supply and demand, you know, like you want to have a bunch of surgeons. Train of thought lost.
I mean, more surgeons would probably be better. It means cheaper surgery.
Yeah.
You know.
And what's the incentive to be a surgeon? Getting paid, man.
Right, getting paid, you know.
And then imagine if you had a bunch of surgeons getting paid like teachers' wages.
There's a problem though with surgeons is that because their records are very like hit or miss, they don't want to take on surgeries that they're not sure they can successfully, you know.
Well, that's why you have the new technology. You have like the robot arm surgeons.
Yeah, that
and
works,
you're just
but
like they're like cutting you open with a fucking PlayStation controller. Or
but
whatever.
if a surgeon looks at you and is like, you got like I think you have like a 10% chance, they might be like, I'm not touching this because I'm not going to mess up my record.
Oh, that makes sense.
And my Yelp rating,
Right.
essentially. You know, which is a bummer because that means some people don't get help, which is probably what some of the socialized healthcare is trying to combat, you know. But it is what it is, man. Love life while you can.
Well, open the market up for like generics. I understand this is a big problem with like insulin. Like in the United States, you can only get name brand insulin, and then it's subsidized by the government. So,
Of course it is.
right,
They'll feed you the milkshake and then sell you their privatized insulin.
right. So the
Or the government
insulin
insulin.
has like a price cap on it, right? But they're not selling it to the consumer directly. They're selling it to the insurance company or they're selling it to the hospital. So, and since they're not making a profit on the insulin, there's no reason to produce it in large quantities. So it ends up being scarce when it's time for the consumer to buy it. And then the people selling the insulin are incentivized to sell it at a high rate because it's a scarce item and they're paying so little for it. And that's why you get rising insulin prices in the United States, where you can get insulin in Mexico for like $30 instead of $200.
Yeah, if you're a type 2 diabetic, you don't need more insulin. You need less sugar, less carbs. Come on. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so do not take any medical advice. I'm without consulting your physician.
Right, dude.
But I mean,
Asterisk.
you can read what is it? Dr. Fung, the Complete Guide to Fasting is a good one. Learn about that if you want. If you want to keep having the sugar, whatever, and injecting insulin, God bless America.
God bless America. Exactly. And that's why I don't want to pay for other people's health care, because I don't need to pay for some chronically unhealthy person wasting away. That's not like a good use of my resources.
No, it's not.
Period.
Yeah. And so the socialized healthcare like that too also incentivizes, poor health, because it hits more softly, I guess, as opposed to like forcing people to either wake up and take care of their stuff, or
the number one cause of death
collapse
in the United States is heart failure.
Yeah.
Right. So like this past year, 2020, thank God it's over. You had COVID.
It was what it was.
You had COVID-19, right? COVID-19 is this terrible thing.
The corona.
Yeah. But I mean, Americans gained on average 20 pounds in the lockdown.
Yeah.
We were the second fattest nation in the world.
Who's first?
Mexico.
Oh, nice.
Oh man, the food's so good down there. Oh man. And you just like made everyone gain weight. Like that's not a good move. That's COVID-19 is a public health issue, but so is obesity.
And the Department of Health is making bank, bro. Big pharma, money. Ka-ching. Fatter people, people inside depressed. That's just dollar signs, bro. Yeah. Like, we should be going into medicine, man.
Right.
We should become lawyers.
Oh, man.
We should run for office.
No, I don't know about that one. I'm not into it.
Yeah. We wrote a song called Castrating Christians.
Oh, shit, bro.
And I would totally throw that out there if I was running for office. Just be like, all right, if you don't want it, like,
boom.
Hey, man.
Castrating Christians was circa 2009, bro.
Like I was a young man in my youth. I'm not the same person. And I want to help those angry young people like I used to be.
Yeah, and that's like an outlet, Like I remember when I was younger, I didn't get why people like really liked sports. Maybe it was because I was terrible at sports, but like I understand that human nature, they have a need to be tribalist. So supporting like your university or your...
Are you talking about being a spectator or playing sports?
Yeah, being a spectator, like having that. I guess both. Like having. That,
I like playing sports, but watching it, unless it's like StarCraft, I can watch StarCraft.
Yeah, that's like
that's nerdy enough for me, man.
For
like,
sure, but
I love that nerd shit.
More of like that tribalism, like
the fanatics.
Yeah,
your team,
and like having that outlet.
Well, we had
just like
death metal.
Yeah, death metal. You got the mosh pit. You're out there, fucking young, dumb, angry, like, and you're putting it out. And then afterwards, you're shaking hands with people in the pit. You're like hugging each other, like, oh man, that song was brutal. Like
with the asshole sprinkled in there here or there.
Yeah, for sure.
God, if I were to do a band, it'd do a crazy shamanistic thing, and the mosh pit would be part of the ritual. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, it'd be awesome.
Oh yeah.
That's what it was. To me, it was a tribal, like a masculine tribal. What would the word be? Exercise, something like that. It's just what you do. Like you want to go express your aggression. There's the
outlet.
The outlet, yeah.
There's
the acceptable
space.
Outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on the show and the consent of the other people in the mosh pit, you can get as hard and heavy. Mm-hmm. as loud or till you get thrown out.
Yeah. So. And people will let you know. I remember seeing some crowd killers get stomped out.
Mm-hmm. Well, they escalated.
Yeah.
So that's what happens. Either that or the crowd gets killed.
Right.
So.
Goddamn Power Ranger dancing.
Hey, man, it's fun. I mean, it looks ridiculous, but it is fun if you get in that headspace. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, don't need to pay for someone else's healthcare. Don't need to pay for someone else's education. That's another issue. That's another thing. The government.
I don't want to pay for someone else's babies.
The government gets everything wrong. Like the reason why prices are so high in college is the same thing. Like the government
subsidized
puts the grant in, so the university's like, oh well, the government's gonna pay, so we could charge whatever we want. And I want like 7 new buildings, so let's upcharge all these people that are getting useless degrees so that they can be like indentured servants to the university and to the Fed, right?
God, I hate useless degrees, man. Like, I got a creative writing degree, and I'm almost ashamed. The coolest part about college is the people you meet.
Right.
And if you're in the right headspace, you can meet a lot of cool people, learn a lot. Really, you don't want to go to college for is that if there's someone you want to study under personally. So if you want to go to college, like, I want to go study under Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
One, you don't have to go to college to do that anymore. There's YouTube.
Boom.
That's the thing about the humanities. You don't have to go to college. You have Amazon, YouTube, the entire internet to study. Except now you might have to go find some books and paper because censorship.
What do you mean by humanities? Because a lot of the humanities are like kind of pseudoscience at this point.
Well, like English. If you want to study English,
right,
you don't got to go to college unless you're going to be a professor of English, which means that you really like English, you like reading, and you're going to pick. That's the thing. If you want to go in there and be successful, you got to really like reading English. You're going to have to pick a specialization. So you got to like really love a time period. Like, let's say you're obsessed with Hemingway. Like, that is your thing. And there's other scholars who are obsessed with Hemingway. And if you were a real scholar, you'd be listening to these guys' podcasts. You'd be reading their books about Hemingway. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go back to first editions or manuscripts, and you're going to read about Hemingway, study him, look in his books, and try to synthesize something new. That, or you're going to take Hemingway and look maybe at a more modern or an older writer that inspired or was inspired by Hemingway, and you're going to like start drawing parallels.
All right, cross-examination.
And because that's where you get expanding. Man, I don't have the words today, man. Whatever, you know what I'm saying. Like, right. It's the synthesis of two different fields of study. So that's what you would do, but you don't have to go to college to do that anymore because of the internet. And you can just put your studies on YouTube. You can write the papers, put it in your blog,
and you can order any book that you want. A lot of the time, or like back in the day, I would imagine before the internet, a lot of people would go to university. Scholars would go just because of the libraries.
And then a lot of the stuff is in public domain now on the internet, so you can get it for free. So, and then you don't have to be employed by university anymore because you can just put it up on YouTube or whatever channel that is paying, and you can get Patreons or subscribers, paid subscribers, and then you have a support system for your passion project or whatever you want to study.
There's a guy I follow on YouTube. Anyway, he does historic battles, and he like illustrates them, and so you get to watch like top down. It looks like StarCraft or like any other RTS top down, whatever, Total War. And so he has the map, like the historic map of like the landscape and everything, and then like the estimated units and then their battle formations and stuff. And he's just like making money or not even, just like doing his goals, like chasing his dream, making these little videos of like historic battles of like Alexander the Great and Gaius Julius Caesar and like whatever happened in the French Revolution and like Prussia and Finland and shit. And it's fucking cool, like.
Yeah, he could have been a professor at West Point potentially, but now the professors at West Point are probably using his videos.
Yeah.
So, and he might be interviewing those professors too, because we have the internet, we have the ability to communicate with each other. I mean, the technology is really like awesome. I know we're trying a lot of stuff now in the government and big techs. Like we're filling out some new territory about what's allowed. But I think I'm with like Michael Malice that the technology is like a more net good than bad, as long as we can keep it, or some places, free, or at least somewhat open for open discourse and synthesis of ideas and art and all that cool stuff.
Yeah. Naval said something about channels and like federations and the internet as a whole. And so
That sounds dope.
Yeah, so it's going to be more of like, as we move into this new era of communication, you're going to have like your big channels. So you're going to have like Facebook's going to be there, Twitter's going to be there, YouTube's going to be there, right? Mm-hmm. And then people supported by those companies are going to be there. And then you're going to have like a bunch of other people, like InfoWars is a good one. Like people are going to make their own websites with their own servers, and they're going to be direct competition, and they're not going to have to worry about like being censored or being dropped off. And it's the same thing with like Amazon. So the big competition for Amazon isn't another like hub, because Amazon competes directly with every individual retailer. So like if I want to buy something from Samsung, I could go to the Samsung website and order the TV, or I can get it on Amazon. So it's like, it's really like, what are the incentives to do what? And then like, you know, paying with your dollar. So like if Amazon starts banning a bunch of books, you can go to like Barnes and Nobles. You can go to Half Price Books. You can go to another bookstore and like give them your money.
You could. I don't.
Right.
I see it all as meaningless signaling. So they're just trying to play to the majority. So I like cheap stuff delivered to my door.
I mean, it's hella convenient.
So it is convenient. I mean, I just bought some, because I don't think Amazon's allowed to sell tobacco. So I just bought some pipe tobacco from an online retailer. Probably has the license. I had to send him a picture of my ID.
What?
Because you gotta make sure I'm 18, you know, at least
Right.
pretending I'm 18. I'm about to be 30, which is awesome. A lot of people be crying like, "Oh my God, I'm 20." It's like, no. It gets better.
Yeah.
If you make it that way. If you're working minimum wage for 10 years, do something with your life, please.
Right.
Please.
Level up, man. Level up.
Yeah. Take some of that booze money or that weed money and put it. Go buy a good book or something, or go talk to someone cool, and don't be a dillhole about it.
Increase your assets.
Oh yeah, definitely. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not what's it called? I'm not advising anybody to do anything with their money, but you're going to make more returns having your money in the stock market than sitting in a bank account. I mean, like, you can be making $25 a week with, like, little to no money in stocks versus, like, 10 cents on $10,000 sitting in a savings account.
Hey, I make $1 every month on $3,000. Okay.
There you go.
So... But that's all long. Well, a lot of that stuff's long term. So, and a lot of people, if they don't have their emotions in check, they should not be playing with the market.
Oh yeah.
Unless they're holding long. And all they gotta do is know when to pull the money out.
Hodl, bro. Hold on for dear life.
For real. And index funds that match the market, which last time I read was has been historically at 8% return. But if you zoom in on certain time periods, the market goes down. When the market goes down, you don't pull your money out. You hold on for dear life, and generally the market comes back because, you know, we have the United States military, which makes everything right.
Yeah. And time in the market is better than timing the market, or at least it's more
Safe.
Yeah, safe, I guess, but like, yeah, less risky for sure.
Yeah, a lot of people, they have stocks or some kind of retirement fund. It killed me, man. Like, my mom, she sold. The market went down, she sold. I'm just like, what are you doing? You should be buying more.
Yeah, buy more. It's coming back up.
Stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, if you'd bought in March, you'd make like historic returns by December of last year, 2020.
Yeah, that's probably what I should, instead of day trade, I should just swing trade,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But I'm saving my money for my business.
Straight up assets, man. I need to get another property.
Yeah, so I'll be moving out. My grandma's selling her place in a couple months.
Nice.
So, and I'm not trying to end up back home this time around. So I'm be looking for a place to pay rent. So I'm getting my shit in gear, dude.
Do it.
Yeah, my drywall project. I finished it. Got the paint. Got it like in the past week, man. Boom, boom, boom. Every day making moves.
Yeah.
And I just put the patch on today. Coated it. All I gotta do is tomorrow's texture, prime, and paint it. Take pictures, and I got my advertisement ready, man.
Heck yeah, dude.
I actually did a fee schedule earlier today, so looking at if it's a full drywall to paint job, $140 for a fist-size hole in the wall. So
Yeah, and that's good for people that like think that shit's really hard, you know, or they just don't want to waste the time with it, you know, or they're like too old, too young.
yeah, like that's the thing. Like even if I only get a couple jobs a week, like I guess it'd be like 3-4. If you get 3 or 4 jobs a week, that are probably going to be like 3-hour jobs each. It's 12 hours. You'd be making the same, working 40 hours in a kitchen.
Right.
Which means you got your time. You got time to meditate, to read, to go to the gym, and stuff like that. But you got to keep the business coming in. You know, and you got to learn how to manage your funds because it might be boom or bust. Maybe the economy shrinks too much, and people don't want the holes in their walls fixed, so they don't want someone else coming in to paint.
Well, that's when you change your market, your demo, because then you're going to be like, you know, West Austin, B Caves,
Oh yeah, start doing that.
Lake Travis.
Except I don't do extension ladders, so single story homes only, which takes out a lot of those homes.
Yeah.
Unless they got holes in the wall, I can do it. But
Dude, fucking.
if I have to get on a 20-foot ladder, sorry,
bro,
I don't have that kind of equipment. I can't fit a 20-foot A-frame on my fucking Toyota.
Landscaping, bro. Pool
Yeah.
cleaning service, house cleaning service,
The handyman services, man.
handyman service, mobile car wash. It's like, oh man, you don't want to take your car to the fucking electric washer? I'll come to your house and wash your car. You know, boom. And then you sell packages, dude. Like, you just make money.
Mm-hmm.
And there's plenty of market out there for like pretty much everything, dude. God bless America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you're smart, hardworking, like you can learn this stuff, have someone teach you. But like, it's like, I know it's really easy if I learn to change my oil in my car.
Oh yeah.
But I choose to go to Goodyear, and I might not go anymore because I saw them. They were on a shit list, conservative shit list. But I pay them the $30 or whatever. They do the deal, check over my car, and then yeah, same thing. Someone else they could paint their wall. It's not super hard, you know, unless they don't have the equipment. They don't want to deal with all that, and then you pay someone else to come do it. You cut your grass. You don't want to waste time cutting your grass. You're busy making more money doing other things.
Yeah.
Pay someone else to learn how to delegate. This is when you're on the up and up. If you're on the down low,
Everything's you, man.
Yeah,
Hustle.
everything's you unless you got a partner, which might be a thing. If you got good friends that can work with you, like figure it out, you know. You learn some lessons, take some bumps, but I mean, at least you're more free that way, as opposed to, you know, I'm 6'4", throwing my back out, washing dishes in a sink around my knees, and the restaurant, man.
Oh yeah.
They took away my dishwashing machine. It was bad, dude. It was bad.
And you're just in a 3-compartment sink.
Yeah, man. No, if I ever go back to a restaurant, I'm gonna tell them like, I want the assistant manager position, or if you're gonna put me in here on the line or whatever, I want to be trained for assistant manager, if not manager. I want to know the money and the supply chain and all that stuff. Yeah.
And ask for what you want. Tell them what you need. Don't just like expect people to help you out. Because I mean, what is it? People are gonna take advantage of you. Period. And that's part about like growing up too. You know, like I think that's, you know, I'm not sure. I didn't have the college experience, so I imagine people do, you know, understand how vulnerable you are and how evil people can be. But, you know, like, moving out across the country and like having people owe me money, you know, if you're in an apartment with a lot of people and only one other person's helping you get shit done, you know, fuck everybody else, go somewhere else with that person, you know, like if you're gonna divide your output input kind of thing going on.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. What is it? People are gonna take advantage of you because people get entitled. You know, you start hanging out with people, and people are gonna look out for themselves. It's pretty terrible, you know. Machiavellism.
To an extent, I think it's mostly just natural selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if someone's doing stuff for you and they want to do it and you're benefiting, generally you're going to let them do that.
Yeah.
Unless you have foresight or experience and you know like there's resentment going on and then you cut it off. You know, you're just like, hey, stop doing this stuff for me. Like, I'm not into this. You know, we're not on the same level. Please go away or whatever it is, you know. But I'm not a woman, so I don't have to worry about getting beaten to death.
Yeah, thank God.
So, yeah, thank God, you know. Even so, I'm sure there's some benefits and stuff, you know, to the female experience too. So, heard the orgasms are pretty great.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, good for them. Good for them. Yeah, dude. Well, looks like we're coming up on the hour, man. Do we want to call it for tonight?
Yeah, man. That's a good one. Episode 1.
Yeah. Do we still want to talk about hippie school next week? I mean, that'd be be an easy conversation to have, man. 'Cause that's a lot of stuff that's loaded in there.
Dude, yeah. I'll talk about that. That sounds good.
Cool. So, this has been your boy Aaron James, Mario, Drag the Waters podcast. Thanks for hanging out. We'll try and be back next week with Mario's story about his experience in hippie school in Washington.
Yeah, man.
And experiencing the what do you call it? The white supremacy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
West Coast white supremacy.
West Coast white supremacy. Name of the episode. All right.
Take care.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.